I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch a fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Brother Dave.
Morning.
Good morning.
We have a very special guest, a personal buddy of mine, Todd Zalinski.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Morning, Todd.
Than's for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Episode 136, Jan?
Episode 136.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That's
It
pretty
is.
cool.
Not as much as your running stats, but we'll get into that. Todd, we had Todd on today. Todd is pretty inspirational, and I want to talk to him about a couple things. We'll get into all that in a little bit, though. But Todd, we always kick the podcast off with the pledge, and if anybody else is out there driving around that wants to join us, now's the time. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the truck of prayer today, everybody knows Ray Davis. Ray's going through it a little bit, so if you have it in your heart, maybe say a little special prayer for Ray Davis today. He's lost somebody pretty close to him, and he's having a hard time. So
Bree as well had a rough day yesterday.
Bree as well. Yep.
So, yeah, couple we got hanging in there.
Got a lot of life going on at JFW right now. People going through it.
Absolutely. And I hope I don't have it wrong, because I'm going to say it, and I know John's on here for his birthday, but I think he lost his father-in-law
Yes,
last
John,
week. So
condolences.
prayers out to the family.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one more in there for Jim Sr. Hang in there, Pops.
Yeah, he's in the hospital having some medical issues. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes.
Prayers for you, Jim.
Prayers.
yeah, thanks.
Here we go. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and in making the good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comfort of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
As a reminder, anything you hear on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFW. It's just some facts mixed with opinions. It's not the opinion of Summit Strong either. It's just some men in this room expressed opinion.
Well, I hate to get on the soapbox or grind my gears with guests here, but I got some stuff I got to get off my chest.
We'll pull the box out here in a little bit. We're going to set it right on the table, and you'll have the box on the table.
Get to stand up.
He may need a pulpit today.
Oh, nice.
Todd asked me yesterday, he's like, so how PC do I need to be? I'm like, we just try not to drop F-bombs. But other than that, everything goes.
All right. Good.
Yeah, we slip a lot, Todd.
Yeah, good. We do drop the occasional F-bomb, but
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's not who I want people to think I am, even though that's exactly who I am.
Sometimes it's just a good explanation point. Is that what it would be?
Yeah, it's like passion.
Yeah.
Favorite word, man. It's everything.
Yeah.
It is. We'll try
Noun,
to keep Goggins.
adjective, verb.
Yes.
It works for all positions.
It does.
Yep. All right, episode 135. Guys, we are slowly climbing back up, but episode 135 had 372 downloads. It is increasing, which is good to see. We're at 74.7 thousand total downloads, and we have 587 followers. So,
Awesome.
It's impressive, guys.
see if we get the Zalinski boost today.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, one of those things, Jam, is I think if I walk by somebody, and I've been struggling with everybody's names. We've got new people, stuck in the office. But I'm just going to look right at people, and I don't even want to know your name. Do you listen to the podcast? That's all I want to know. Because we're preaching and preaching and preaching, and part of my stuff today, and nobody's listening. I think even if you listen, you're not listening.
Well, somebody's listening. 372 people listened.
Well, they
Hopefully
need
they
to,
work
But
here.
did they hear us? Did they hear what it's about? You know what I mean?
the safety topics and about just stopping, and it's like I feel like we're falling on deaf ears.
That's sad.
It is.
Okay.
We got a dad joke here. We can get that out
Yeah.
and raise the spirits.
Yep. Todd, we always start off with the fresh blood. Did you bring your dad joke?
I brought a dad joke.
All right. Let's hear it.
All right. How do you embarrass an archaeologist?
How do you embarrass an archaeologist?
I don't think
I'm
we've
stumped.
heard that one.
Got to be some final dig or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Stone
give
him?
Yeah. You guys are kind of close. Stone Age, almost. Give him a used tampon and ask him which period it came from.
Oh, wow. Todd's coming out swinging.
Yeah, mine's a goofy one. They were just really dad jokes. So, and I don't think we've done this one. What do you call a sheep without legs?
Has to be something lamb or
Lame.
A cloud.
a cloud.
Okay. Could tell that one to my daughter.
Yeah, that's it.
And then and then well, I guess I can't do this one. But the other one I had was what kind of fish do penguins catch at night?
I don't know.
Starfish.
There you go.
Man.
So those are my dad jokes.
It's always so obvious when you get the answer, right?
Right.
Holy cow. All right. What do you call a psychic little person who has escaped from prison?
Psychic little person. Escape from prison. I don't know.
A small medium at large?
That's
Well,
funny.
I can't believe you even have that joke, Dave. Because I all right. What do you call a fat psychic?
Oh, I think I've heard this one.
Oh, man. A big know-it-all or something.
A fortune teller?
Oh, we might have to edit these jokes.
Right?
Okay.
All right. I'll clean it up. Jam, you'll probably know this one. Where did Noah keep his bees?
I don't know that one.
In the archives.
In the archives. Got it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, in the spirit, you done, Dave?
I'm done. I'm done.
In the spirit of Todd being here, I brought some running and gym jokes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
First one. How do crazy runners get through a forest?
One limb at a time?
They take the psychopath.
Okay. That's a good one.
There's a new gym up the street, and it's only $120 per year. $120 per year. That's $60 a visit, so not really a great deal.
All right. Yeah. Hey, we love those members. Love those members.
And my last one is, I don't mind leg day. It's just the next 2 days I can't stand.
That's a good one. That's a true one too.
All right, new employees. We got Evaristo Rosales and Kyle Markman started this week. Welcome to the fleet, men.
Welcome
Yeah,
aboard.
welcome, you guys.
It's kind of cool. So I'm actually getting to meet these people before they start working again, because I haven't done interviews in a long time. And with Super Dave gone,
Right.
people start, and then it's like, oh, who are you? So I've actually got to meet these people and got to know them a little bit, and they're both really good people. So excited to have them here.
Awesome. In the thick of it again, huh, Jim?
Yeah. Yeah.
The beginning of the thick of it.
Yeah. Celebrations, anniversaries. Shane Fredrickson hits 2 years tomorrow. Happy anniversary, Shane. Potter hits 6 years tomorrow. Happy anniversary, Potter. And then Scooby with the big 3 years on Friday.
Oh, congratulations.
Happy
Happy
anniversary,
anniversary,
everybody.
Scoob.
Those
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
awesome.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Awesome days there.
Birthdays, John Moore on Friday. Happy birthday, John. And like we said earlier, condolences for your loss. And then family birthday celebrations. Bree's son, Caden, had a birthday yesterday. And then Rosario's wife, Maria, has a birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And that, Bree, we hope you're doing better today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Shout out. CC wanted to give a shout out to Linda for answering her phone while she was in Missouri. She didn't need to do that, but she helped CC out. And a shout out to Dwayne Sand in 0078 for helping her dump out in a stockpile over at Plant 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, good job, Dwayne. Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to Scooby for making our grass the greenest on the block.
I think he suffers for that because he has to mow all the time, but it does look
it's
beautiful.
It's that nitrogen, man. He told me, last year I got on the Scooby fertilizer program, and he's like, "You're gonna hate me," because the grass just grows so quick. So
Right.
I've only done a blend so far this year twice, but I'm gonna hit it with that nitrogen in about 3 weeks, and it's gonna take off.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Shout out to JR and Mikey for all the test runs they're doing in the super tandems. Brother Dave, you could probably speak more on that, but those guys are busting it trying to get those things ready.
Yeah. It's just it's kind of like getting a race car finished. It's test and tune week, man. We gotta get it dialed in and get it done and get those things on the road. So the shop is still killing it, and JR out there testing, and I know Casey's done a good portion of it, and
Oh, nice.
we're close. You know what I mean? We're gonna know here probably during the podcast.
I know everyone's asking, can we use the super tandems yet? Whether it be
Right.
you, the customer's dispatch, or all like,
Right?
Everybody.
Yeah.
we need an extra truck on the road, or 3 or 6 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the 3 other ones, 2 of them possibly this week.
I hope
Send
so.
somebody up.
They didn't call me yesterday afternoon, so I have it on my list. After the
Call 'em.
podcast. So
And those are automatics, is that right? The new ones?
Yeah, those are automatics and used. I mean, a newer truck, but used truck bed.
Yeah.
I know Freightliner did a lot of cosmetic stuff, not physical stuff. They were in good shape, just a lot of cosmetic. Don't you
yeah, I
think,
mean,
Dave?
it was across the board. The little
items.
the crossing the T's and dotting the I's on the little things that Mikey and I went up there and found. So, and it's it's kind of interesting talking to JR yesterday because he's he hustled definitely some loads out of Wallstrom yesterday, and I think some material out of Morton and delivering to the plants, and he was dumbfounded how fast they are.
Really?
Yeah, he said like 3 trucks were dumping at plant 2. He whipped in, backed up, dumped, and left, and they weren't finished yet.
Oh wow!
And with the liners in it, how the material just falls out like a loaf of bread. It's
out
just
of that tandem. It has to
right,
shoot out.
right. Yeah, he said it was fast, and if those 3 are fast, I can't imagine when we get the other 3 with the automatics in them because they're. I mean, driving those trucks, I was dumbfounded. It's like driving a pickup. It's just fast. So.
Very nice.
Yeah, scary fast, actually.
JR and Oswaldo want to give a shout out to Tony Martinez, Zach, Chili Dog, Steve Barnes, Coleman, John Jordan, Gabe, and Rosario for the work they did over at Volo Sports last week. That was a tough job site to work out of, and it was pretty tight. And JR was down there, Casey as well, just making it happen. So good job, everybody.
Awesome way to work together, everybody. Yeah, and I just are you good?
I'm
Jim?
good.
Yeah,
I'm great.
I just want to go back up, I guess, and it's a shout out to John Moore and his family. John talked to me several times about his father-in-law, and so many of us are in that season again, and I just want to touch on that. Jam, you just lost your stepdad, and stuff like that, and we're of the age that's going to happen more and more, and I just wanted to throw it out there to John. If you need to talk or you need anything, please contact me, Dave, or any one of us if we can help. And I also know it's still June here, Men's Mental Health Month, and that's important, dealing with stuff like that. Dave mentioned Dad's in the hospital, and he's of that age, and
I'm making a joke out of it. Men's mental health should be all year, not just June.
Sometimes we just don't have it together. That's no doubt. So just shout out to John again, and all the guys that would need any kind of assistance or just want to talk.
Yep,
It's
for
important.
sure. I have a shout out on there, Jam, that we talked about. Vince Meekins called out early this morning that 285 was closed on the way to Fairplay, and I don't know how many trucks he saved from going up there. So thanks, Vince, for paying attention to that. Brother Jim and I talked about it on the ride in because we kept making announcements to try and grab people just so we had everybody covered. And it was pretty interesting because
there's no weather event, there's no rain, there's no wind, there's no snow.
Right.
I never would have checked Co-Trip. So sounds like a good habit you have, Vince, for checking that route already, or maybe you heard about it last night and, savvy enough to remember to check this morning. Either way, you were ahead of all of us. So, and you helped us stop a bunch of trucks from going up there. So appreciate that, Vince. Way to be on your game and prepared and help us all out.
Yeah, and also just speaking about that accident, I haven't seen pictures or anything, but it sounds like a flatbed hauling a bunch of pipe rolled, and the pipe landed on a few cars and killed one of the four-wheelers. So
it kind of sounds bad.
Yeah, that road, you really need to pay attention to everything that's
Right.
going on. Those 2-lane roads, 285, we could keep going through the list. Highway 85 even, it's a 4-lane, but I don't know. It's dangerous game we play out there.
It's probably a good bit of a segue there to talk about the flatbed stuff. That's the number one most, ticketed? I don't know if that's the right wording, Jim, but
Yes.
for DOT to pick on loads,
Violations.
Jim?
Road securement.
Load securement. There you go. That's the number one issue in our industry is with flatbeds. And the reason I'm using it as a segue is we just rented a couple flatbeds and we picked up a couple loads out of Oklahoma that the guys are running out and picking up some concrete barriers. So that load securement is number one issue there with DOT and FMCSA and all of our rankings as safety goes. So pay attention to that stuff. And, here's a clear-cut case,
Yeah.
right? Pipe shouldn't come off. Your load shouldn't come off your trailer. End of story.
Yeah, and I want to. I was just quickly looking at Co-Trip. That area, I think that's the area that bugs me the most, because doesn't it go to 4-lane right there? Or am I in the right spot on 285?
I couldn't
where
tell
it's and it's a lot of sharp turns. Did the truck roll and then lose its pipe? Maybe it has nothing to do with load securement. I don't know, but I just. The bottom part there where it goes to 4 lanes and all the speeds pick up, that I hate that spot. That's my worst spot down there at the bottom if I'm in the right spot.
As far as load securement and violations go, to me it's just like it's so out in the obvious. It's plain as day. I don't know all the rules, but if the DOT officer knows, he could take one look at your load and be like, he's missing a chain or a strap.
Right.
It's just kind of like your hose is dragging on the catwalk. It's obvious, right? So
Yeah, really obvious.
Yep.
Yep.
Any more shout-outs, BD?
I'm good.
You want to give any shout-outs to your crew or your wife? Or well, you better give your wife one.
Yeah, I might as well give my wife a shout out because I'm sure she'll listen to it. My nephew, anyone listening to this, shout out. I'm humbled and thankful to be here with you guys. So it'll be an interesting discussion.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, let's talk about some, I don't know if you call it just things we're dealing with this week. House cleaning. One thing we want to talk about is leaving the yard in the morning. When we're leaving the yard in the morning, and we just talked about it, we need to stop at the sidewalk. We like to assume that everybody coming down Newport Street is a JFW driver, and they're on their way to work, and they're going to make a left turn into our driveway. Well, we do have a neighbor right to the south of us, and sometimes it's them going to work, and they have to stop to let us out of the driveway. They don't complain about it. They do it gracefully. They almost anticipate it, but it still doesn't make it right, and we need to be a better neighbor. So,
Yeah, I think that's the key there, Jam, is being the better neighbor, and that's what I was just going to say, that they're our family because they're our neighbors. They're who have been with us here in the neighborhood for 20 years or better.
not only that, the relationship we have with Denver Truck and Trailer is great. Dan and Marshall, Marshall listens to the podcast, but they are, when we have something broken, we just bring it next door and they fix it.
And they take care of us, Jam.
They painted the super tandems, they paint our tanks. We have a good working relationship with them, and we'd like to be more respectful.
And I think in the afternoons we deal so much with the golf car, across the street. They're trying to get out, and I know they're used to us blocking up the street and stuff. But that courtesy goes a long ways. And then and I think the reason we bring that up, and it's so much in our face, and you've said it in different sayings, Jam, is you're just leaving the yard and you're not doing it right. What do you do the rest of the day? If you can't do that right, what are you doing over at Plant 2, or what are you doing at Wallstrom, or all the different areas? And I guess that's part of my soapbox today is I'm just kind of disgusted with our processes. When something goes wrong or different, our processes break down. And one of my notes here is, Vince called in about fair play early on the radio. Great. We called several times on the radio. We had drivers coming in from, let's say 4:30 to 5:30, headed that way. And I heard Linda on the company radio, "Hey, I just got in, give me a second, you guys, I'll redispatch you." Somebody calls in immediately. "Linda, I was headed to fair play. What do you got?"
Instantly.
And she just said, "Give me a second. I just got here." And I guess it's the breakdown of, that is something new. It just happened. It's an emergency. A road's closed, but you think your dispatch is going to happen in 2 seconds. I think that's just rude, and it bugs me. Then our rule, you're trained that way. You spend time with JR. You go over with Kendrick. You're driving with your trainer, and you're supposed to use the company radio. Everybody is using the company radio. And then you call in on the phone. Why Linda's trying to talk on the company radio, the same company radio you can hear while you're on the phone. And what do you think she has to do when she answers the phone? Stop talking on the radio.
Right.
And I mean, the processes and the things we go over, please think about what you're going to do and how you're going to handle the situation. Farther on in here about, we never practice. I guess nobody practices just stopping and not tearing shit up. I'm going to say it. We let Nicole go last week because she went to plant 12 and literally just bashed right into the concrete wall. We all watched the video. We have no idea what she was doing, have no idea why. None of it makes sense, but she bashed right into the wall. So instead of stopping when she hit the wall, which was probably minimal damage, never getting out, she backed up. And I'm saying she because it's Nicole. We've had the same thing happen with a man driver, a woman driver. It doesn't matter. The person, you don't stop. When you have an accident, stop and assess the situation. Because when she backed up, she bent the hell out of the step.
Yep. Yeah, it went from like $3,000 to probably $8,000 or $9,000 pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's just, we have to stop. When you have an accident, stop and assess the situation. Don't move, don't back up, don't go forward, don't do anything. Stop and get out. And then ask for help. There's all of us here that can help you, and we don't take advantage of that. The process is you're trained to stop. The process is you're trained to use the company radio. The process is you're trained to stop at the sidewalk. Nobody does that. I guess that's back to my thing. Screw putting away the shopping cart. Doesn't matter to anybody else. Don't let me go silent, you guys. Help me.
We're grinding gears, and we started with an 8-speed, I think. We're going to be at an 18 by the end of the podcast.
Yeah, Todd, I looked up your business and stuff, and you got some great sayings, health, taking care of yourself. I hope you lift us up when we get to your
Yeah. No, I mean, you're I mean, it's not just this business, it's a societal problem, right? So everyone is in such a hurry to get shit done because they're on to the next thing, and we don't spend enough time in the moment of doing what's right away, right? So like, one of my favorite people I listen to is Jocko Willink, and I don't know if you guys have discussed extreme ownership on this podcast, but
we've had him on the podcast before.
Jocko came on. That's pretty cool.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome to have Jocko on.
Maybe
here.
he can join Rogan with us.
But yeah, I mean, you guys hit it on the head. I mean, discipline equals freedom, and how you start your day is how you're going to run the rest of your day. You play college football, and you practice how you play. So if you don't start your day off right, the likelihood of your day going the way you would like it to go is pretty low. So, like you guys say, I mean, I talked with my employees, Mike. Everyone that I know, clients, if you don't start your day off the right way, first thing, have a routine for yourself, you're just creating chaos in your life. And it seems like that's kind of what you guys are going through right now. So yeah, man, discipline equals freedom. Start your day right. Give yourself a routine, and that will make I'll guarantee you, it's a matter of fact that your day will be better 100% if you have a routine, any routine.
Yeah. What did you call that bit on Jocko? What was that?
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership. It's he's got a leadership series of books that I've go through with, anyone that's in management or wants growth. Like it's the foundation of what I use for my business, and it just comes down to everything you do falls on you, right? Like,
right.
Own everything you do, which is exactly what you guys just talked about with that accident, right? Like, you mess up, stop. It's your fault. Say, I own that, and everything gets better when you do that, right?
Right.
Like
everything gets
better. It's like telling the truth.
That's where that quote comes from, Dave. When it comes to standards, it's not what you preach, it's what you accept.
There
That's
you go.
From the extreme ownership.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll have to check into that. John Moore has a version of that, just because we've mentioned John Moore several times on here. It's better to eat crow warm than cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just stop, let everybody know what's going on ASAP, and move on.
Yeah, as you go through this, JR, everything, driving above the posted speed limit in the pit. Why would you do that? You're in the pit.
And it's a posted speed limit.
And it's a posted speed limit, and it's a safety thing. Stopping and announcing yourself before pulling on the scale. We've had a handful of our newer drivers and seasoned drivers calling out as they are driving on the scale. Is that what it says? Yeah. Scale. Also driving on the scale too fast. Some of the drivers do not stop before getting on the scale. I know nobody was trained that way, you guys. Yeah. It's a process, and we train that way. Back to my old thing of what if. What if? And I wheeled this weekend, went four-wheeling with JR, had a wonderful weekend, but every obstacle, every uphill, downhill, the trees, whatever, you look at that as what if. If I slide this way, do I hit this? If I slide that way, do I hit a fender? Or if I go this way, do I spin out and can't make the obstacle? It's all about what ifs and looking and planning what you're going to do. And that is no different with the scales. We've had so many people pull on the scale, passenger and driver side, run right into the scale. So we ask you to stop and be off the radio, not doing anything, and pay attention to be pulling on that scale. And pull it on in a safe speed.
And this is what we're talking about. You're listening to the podcast, but do you hear us? Yeah. You're hearing our words. Are you absorbing them? This is the head on a swivel discussion, right? What does head on a swivel mean? Got to be looking everywhere, looking every direction, out the mirrors, at the gauge, front, back, everywhere. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I think the constant listeners, it just pops off the top of my head, but like Chris Beam, because he'll leave me comments, or George, hey, like the podcast today and stuff like that. The seasoned guys. And we have so many people, back to the same thing, we have so many people doing it the right way. We know that. But it's just that the few things that happen and the ugliness rears its head. And the thing is, you guys, it costs a lot of money. And we're not in the economy right now to be having any kind of extra money. Whether you got a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, wasting money is just stupid. And that's what we've been doing lately, you guys. We can't afford the damage, and it's just a lack of doing it correctly, I guess. Because we are going to have the accidents, but let's not just keep doing this shit on purpose.
Yeah, let's not drive into a block just because we're not paying attention
aimlessly. 3 blocks.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that video. I don't know, 5-6 times it seemed like. And I couldn't understand. I can't, out of a lot of the accidents we have, I just can't understand that one. How it was, we had the same kind of incidents at Plant 2, and we ran into the concrete wall there. And I mean, that one was a lot of damage.
Yeah. That driver doesn't work here anymore either.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of leeway for working here. We take in an account a lot of variables for you losing your job.
Yeah.
But when it comes to blanking us like that, that's just, we can't. We're afraid of what you will do
Next.
and to somebody else.
Yeah.
Whether just like in our prayer, it's another family out on the road. That's what scares us.
Yeah.
You know, and Todd, you said it so well there, or not so well, but you brought it up. You know, just own it. I mean, we've had so many accidents where if you just came in the door and go, I screwed up. I don't know what I was doing. I was eating my lunch. I did whatever. We would go, okay. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
But I was doing this, I was doing that, and then no, you weren't.
Yeah, getting terminated from JFW isn't a one-person decision. Typically, there's at least an email with 12 people on it, discussing it, or trying to come up with a good sound decision. But at the end of the day, it is about safety, and we just pray nobody ever gets hurt. We could have all the accidents in the world, but if somebody gets hurt, that just brings a new level of guilt, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Where, if we hurt somebody, that would just feel really different.
I find it interesting how this last one took no ownership.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I don't think anybody realizes, Jam, and no matter how angry, the moment might make us, the damage, the being upset about the cost of it, firing somebody, letting somebody go, losing somebody, it's still hurtful. It never feels good. Anybody that starts to feel good for, that's not the JFW way.
Right.
Yeah, they
that's
definitely
not the
need
creed.
They need the month of June to get some mental help. That's for sure.
Yeah, because letting somebody go and having accidents, it never feels good.
Nope. All right, so Casey he's been getting out of the yard a little bit, driving around to different plants and pits. He brought up a couple of the items we already talked about, but another thing he wanted to bring up is the tear weights of Morton. He talked to the scale operator, Juanita, up there about any issues, and she said the main things was tear weights. Juanita is requesting that if you ask to see if the truck tear weight is good, to please get in line and get a new tear weight. The reason behind this, the scales are on a single computer system, and when there are trucks on the scale and trucks waiting to scale out, Juanita has to stop what she is doing to figure out if the tear weight's good. Kind of like the same thing we're talking about calling in on radio and then calling in on phone. It's disruptive, or coming into the yard and asking the mechanic where you want the truck instead of getting out and seeing if he's working on something. It's just you're disrupting their work. So yeah, if you need to ask if your tear weight's good up in Morton, just get a new tear weight. Help them out a little bit.
Yeah, and what is that? I don't understand. What is a good tear weight? Somebody's left a tire off the scale?
No, meaning do they need a new one?
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's June 12th and you haven't been there, or you don't know if the truck's been there, you're in somebody else's truck. Hey, does this truck have a good tear weight?
Gotcha.
Or does it need a new
Gotcha.
one?
That makes sense. Totally makes sense. Okay.
I mean, I'll just go
because we've had the same people through the years have played the game of, I'm going to get a tear weight because it's good for a year and I'm out of fuel.
Right.
Or, I'm going to, we know of companies, hopefully it's never happened here or been nipped in the bud, but, leave a front tire on the very edge and, that kind of stuff. Never pull the trailer all the way. So you got that light tear weight. And
right.
That's just cheating yourself, cheating the customer and everything. And we really frown on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
or if you're changing, you got a 35-foot trailer, now you got a 38. You got to get a new tear weight.
Yeah, pulling that rock trailer or something like that, changing up. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
just, I guess it's the whole thing here is just doing the right thing. And we've repeatedly talked about it. We've given you all the tools, all that kind of stuff, and we're not getting that done.
Another thing Casey noticed is driving up and down Highway 85, he's noticed a lot of trucks hanging out in the left lane. Brighton PD was in full swing yesterday, writing tickets for truck speeding and being in the left lane. I imagine that they will be doing this throughout the summer due to heavy traffic through Brighton. So, yeah, that wouldn't be the first time. We didn't get a ticket yesterday, but we have gotten tickets on Highway 85 specifically for hanging out in that left lane. And the community, the citizens in that area, they hate it. You see people complaining on social media
Absolutely.
all the time about trucks hanging out in the left lane. You can use the left lane to pass, but once you pass, get back over. You find yourself in a drag race, next to another truck in the right lane that you can't just get out and pass, fall back in line. It's not going to save you much time to, race him all the way up Highway 85 for 5 miles with a line of traffic behind you.
Yeah, because so many times with that jam and, driving and stuff, it's funny, and you talk about you're not going to lose much time if you just drop in behind them. But I've had so many times that I'm like, oh, to heck with it. I've just dropped in behind the truck, and they have to slam on the brakes because they didn't make the light, and yet you're rolling up, I don't know, whatever, half a mile behind them. You can go right through the light because you made the light.
Right.
But then I've also had where the guy was hauling ass. He made the light. I didn't. But then the guy's gone. The truck's gone.
Right.
It just doesn't. Either scenario doesn't matter for the day.
It's out of your life.
And the thing is, again, what's the right thing? Being in the left lane or being in the right lane? How many times we've all talked about, again, we're talking about it on a podcast. We got on I-25 today to come into work. I stayed in the right lane all the way to work. Never had to move over. And we passed how many people in the left lane? And I mean, the right lane is the fast lane because everybody thinks that's where you need to go because it's not the right thing anymore. It just doesn't work, and I'm just frustrated with trying to do the right thing when we'd be outstanding if we do the right thing all day.
I just want to bring up not only the left lane on Highway 85, but the left lane on I-70 as well. Because we've talked about we've actually received tickets in the past being in that left lane for too long. Like I'm going to make it up coming out of Wallstrom, going over the top, coming all the way down I-70, and by 32nd Youngsfield, you've jumped in the left lane and you ride that left lane. Well, actually, prior to that, usually up by Colfax, you've jumped in that left lane and you sit there to catch I-76 in, what is that, 5 more miles, 3 more miles, something like that. You shouldn't be in that left lane. I mean, we've gotten a ticket for it. We don't belong over there.
Nope. No, I wasn't. I guess since I'm bringing the stuff up, I purposely didn't look, you guys. I purposely did not want to know. But Friday, when we went up to Moab, I passed 3 JFW trucks. They were all in the middle lane, going up to Fry's. Guess what lane I passed them in because nobody was in it?
Right lane.
Right lane.
Purposely did not look at the truck numbers, no. I was off for the day, didn't want to call dispatch, and I'm like, and nobody, I mean, easily could have been in the right hand. Nobody, right lane, and nobody to pass.
You're saying going up to Wallstrom?
Yep.
I want to defend those guys a little bit if they weren't in the left lane.
They were not in the left lane. They were in the middle lane. But the thing is, Jam, and you can defend them all you want, there was nobody in the right lane.
Understood. But a lot of times you'll be cruising, you go in the right lane, and you do get stuck behind that truck hauling a load up there. I understand you're saying there was nobody there, but if they're doing 65 miles an hour in the middle lane, how come you couldn't pass them in the left lane?
Because I just don't go in the left lane.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, why go out there in the fast lane when the right lane is totally open and I can go past them?
Okay.
And where I'm talking about, Jam, and I understand as you're climbing up through there, this was from I can't tell you which was exit. It was on down the lane all the way to where you climb to go back up to Fry's to the construction.
So probably from like Chief Hosa all the way.
Yeah, all the way down. So it's not climbing
this
the
side
hill.
of Floyd Hill.
Easily see in front of you.
Gotcha.
Kind of stuff, Jam.
Definitely.
And I understand what you're and you don't have to change a bunch of lanes, right? Maybe the middle lane is the safest lane.
Sure.
Yeah, statistically, middle lane is the safest. If you're in the slow lane and cars are getting on the highway, you have to scoot over for them or, slow down or speed up, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, statistically, you see that a lot on I-25. Like there will be a truck doing 60 miles an hour in a 75 mile an hour zone in the middle lane, and you're like, ah. And then left lane isn't going anywhere, so you wind up passing on the right. You know what I mean?
I guess that's my point to this is they were doing the speed limit, so they were in the way in the middle lane.
Right.
And that's the thing. I guess it's the coolness of it. It's the effort of making it look right. It's not making the public think any different of us, having to go around us on either side. It's what can you do to be better?
Heard that. You guys got anything else for the discussion part before we move on to Todd?
Well, I hope everybody's listening, and if you listen, you start to do it. I guess that's the thing of how do you want to be in your life? How do you want to drive all day long? There's a better way to do it.
No doubt. All right, well, Todd. Todd is a believer, a husband, a new husband. Have you hit your 1-year anniversary yet?
July 4th.
Oh, wow. Coming up.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got married with a bang, right? July
Yeah,
4th.
exactly.
Bought up.
Yeah. It's a dad joke. Back to the beginning.
He's also a hunter, a leader. I consider him a silent warrior, a home brewer, and also the owner of Summit Strong, which is a gym located in the Bouvelon downtown.
In the what?
The Bouvelon,
What is
the
that?
building on 8th and Lincoln.
8th and Lincoln.
I didn't know that was the name of it. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It used to be like, I mean, when the Bouvelon was first built, it was
Yeah,
like,
it
we
was
live in the Bouvelon. There's a bunch of football players living in there. and,
Wow.
you know,
Very cool.
athletes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty hot. Is it the same now, Todd, or has things calmed down?
Joker's brother still lives in the penthouse.
Okay.
In the same, what would be the south? There's a south tower and a north tower with a parking structure in between the two towers, and then the pool area is like on the 5th floor of the parking lot. So the penthouses are pretty cool.
I bet.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're on the 2nd floor of what would be the south tower.
What's underneath you?
I've got a restaurant called the Ninth Door, which I give a shout out to the Ninth Door. If you ever want some Spanish tapas downtown, amazing, just a great locally owned place. Right. And then there's it's a dental association. So they do a lot of trainings there. It's not a true practicing dental office,
gotcha.
but they help out like kids with cleft palates, stuff like that. But they do a lot of training and stuff like that for other associations.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
And then above you are residents.
Above me are residents.
Gotcha. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So, Todd, I think we know each other since, I want to say 2008.
I was going to say it has to be 07 or 08.
Okay.
But it's got to be something like that.
We met at 24 Hour Fitness. I think I was just doing memberships at that gym in Lowry. And were you the fitness manager or the club manager?
So I think you were there on my second run at 24 Hour Fitness. Okay. So I left.
And that was my second run at 24 Hour Fitness.
All right. And I was actually driving through, I took Quebec from my house down here, and I was driving through Lowry. So went through memory lane a little bit, and I couldn't remember if you were, was Tom Tom Steger was the GM. They brought me back as a fitness manager.
Okay.
And then I think I got promoted before you left.
Got it.
So
that
then
makes sense.
I became the general manager.
Got it.
Yes.
So basically you were my boss.
Yes.
Gotcha. Was I a good employee? Do you remember? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, the sales guys at 24 Hour Fitness back then were,
well, back
it was
then,
just a different culture.
Right.
And
when was your first run at 24? What year was that?
So I moved out to Colorado in 2003.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So in 2000 was my first, 2000 to 2005, actually. No, 2000. And the sales culture there was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It was, you think you're going to buy a gym membership, but it was a hard sell. It was, we would hard close people all the time. As a matter of fact, the intake form was designed to be thrown in your face, basically. So it'd be like, okay, what are your fitness goals, Brother Dave? I want to lose 20 pounds and, be healthier. Okay, how important is that to you? Very important. And how long have you been thinking about these goals? For 5 years. And you write all that down, right? So then we take you on a tour and we show you around, and then we go to close you and you're like, I want to think about it. You've been thinking about it for 5 years, and
Oh yeah, it was brutal, man.
you've been thinking about it 5 years, and you told me that losing 20 pounds is important because you want to be around for a long time for your family. And it was all just like, it was rough. There would be people crying at the sales desk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Regularly.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But I learned a lot about sales there.
Yeah. If you've ever watched The Boiler Room,
Okay.
it was literally boiler room fitness
Style.
Like
Wow.
it was like you were not walking out of there without a membership and personal training.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the Matrix calls appointment shows, right? You had to make, I'm going to make it up. You had to make 100 calls a day, set 6 appointments, and have 3 shows or something like that. You probably remember.
Oh yeah,
that.
it was at least that. I mean, it was 100 calls a day. It was like 10 appointments, and I think you had to have at least 3 shows, so 30%, right? And if
Right.
you were under that, and then we had a weird pay structure, right? Like it was commission versus draw.
Right.
I think it changed by the time you and I got back,
Got
but
back.
it was like you had like 2 months to make it,
Yeah.
and if you couldn't get your commission above draw, you were gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
It was intense.
man,
It was
intense.
By the time 2008, 7 rolled around, they softened up a little bit.
Yes.
You know, you still had to make your calls and stuff, but they didn't encourage making people cry
No,
at the desk.
no,
you know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
no.
It's funny you guys mentioned that because last night, actually Monday night, a guy knocked on the door, and we just don't have people in our neighborhood, right? They just don't go to door, especially at night, you know? And it kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, it might be important, you know? So I opened up the door, and it was just a guy selling his bug spray services, and he had sold it to the neighbor across the street, and he had the line. You know what I mean? Like, he was dialed in, and I kind of stood there for a second. I'm like, I'm not interested. And he's like, well, you know, and kept on with the hard sell and the hard sell. And pretty soon I'm kind of standing there, and I'm just listening to his spiel, knowing I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? Right. And I finally stopped him, and I'm like, listen, you can stop right there. You got a good pitch, but I'm not doing it. And I fist bumped him. I said, have a good night, man. And I closed the door. And he kind of laughed when he walked off, like he knew what he had going. You know what I mean? And I bet he sells people because it was the pitch of, hey, I'm doing your neighbor's house. Everybody's getting a package deal because the more houses I can get. You know what I mean? He had the drill lined up. And it was for me, it was almost entertainment.
Nice.
You know?
One thing I did like about 24 Hour Fitness, they used to have this saying called one and done. Do you remember that? One and done. So somebody came up, a customer, a member, and they asked you for something. You didn't say, oh, go see that person or go see that person. It was, they asked you, you're the one and done. You got it done for that person.
No.
So I really did like that.
So that takes care of the customer.
Takes care of the customer,
Right.
absolutely. Todd, so becoming, a fitness manager and then a general manager, what was that like? Because I never made it to that level of 24 Hour Fitness. What kind of pressures did they put on you, and was it all based on numbers?
Oh yeah, I mean it's all performance based, right? So, I mean, if you related it to a trucking realm, if these guys here put a load total on you that if you didn't hit, you got like written up, kind of a thing.
Right.
Like I couldn't even imagine. But that was the culture that was put on pretty much all the staff, other than the people that worked like front desk reception. So trainers had a certain amount of money they had to sell every month, certain number of sessions they had to do. Fitness manager, you had to, perform at X amount of X, Y, and Z dollars, and that went down into the sales. So it was intense. It was high pressure, and you had to learn to wear your hat at work and then be able to take that sucker off, because if you took that stuff home, man, it was a miserable way to live life. But the one thing that I will say about 24 Hour Fitness back then, it taught me business. Like, I mean, that's in the real world, and I think I would hope that, if you look at yourself as just a driver or just an employee or just a worker, I think it's hard sometimes to put yourself to the level of owner. The only way to do that is to look at it as your house, right? Like if you can bring it back down into your family and why you're doing your job, and then remember that, oh shit, these guys that I work for, they're doing the same thing. And not only that, but they're the ones that literally, like, I sit with my employees, like, I literally write your paycheck out of my checking account to make sure you can go and live and have the life you have, right? Like, I mean, I as an employee, you don't think about it that way, right? You think, oh, I work for a company, right? And that the company's the man, but it's like, that's a person, dude.
Right.
Like, that's a person, and they actually give a shit about you. I mean, and I only say that, I only say that because I was sitting here listening to you guys in the beginning, and and business is a business in my opinion. and different owners look at their businesses differently and all of that. But like, these guys generally care about your well-being, and because if they didn't, they wouldn't do all the things that you guys listened to early, like the jokes and the celebrations and the shout-outs. And then even to get into the discussion piece to say, you know, we let someone go because they did something really stupid, and not only did they do it stupid for themselves, but they could have hurt themselves, which these guys in here that I'm sitting with, I know would feel bad about it.
Right.
Right? Like, they had rules are typically there to help you guys be safe and be better. So, you know, take some heart in that when you're driving and you're thinking about those things, like not being in the middle lane. And thank you guys for telling people to get the fuck out of the left lane. Because, I mean, oh, jeez, man. Like, I was riding with my wife, and she's probably going to listen to this, but it's okay. I still love you, honey. You know, she grew up here in Colorado, and apparently in Colorado they don't teach you that the left lane is a passing only lane.
Really?
Not anymore. We grew up. We were taught that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? You were taught when you get on the highway, you need to be at highway speed.
What?
You were taught you only go to the left lane because that's the passing lane.
Period.
Right?
Period.
We were taught that.
Okay.
It's just, it has gone out the window.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think enough I mean, at 4:30 in the morning when we're coming to work, you see people get on the on-ramp and they shoot all three lanes when the highway's empty.
Yes, I see it at 3:30 in the morning when I get on.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it blows my mind. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely. That's like my pet peeve.
I love
Bad, but yes. But so thank you guys. But yeah, I mean, kind of getting back, losing my train of thought. But yeah, these guys care about you, and that's what the rules are there for. So like setting the right example, doing the right thing, it's so important. I love putting the grocery cart away. Another one of my soapbox I could get on and talk about. Like, come on, man. Really?
But do you put other people's carts away?
Yes.
Because that's the level we're at over here.
Yes, I do. And I will say something to people when I see them. Like, are you done with that? Would you like me to put that away for you? It's like re-racking your weights in the gym. I've actually charged people in my gym and canceled memberships for not racking weights.
Really?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, come on, man. You just lifted all that weight. And
you can't put it back?
You can't put it back.
It's funny, Todd. I find myself cleaning up, like, the area I'm working out in. So, like, if I'm on, and this is a machine that always happens on, I'll be on the, what do they call it? It's got the strap for you to do squats.
Oh, the belted squat.
Belt squats,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I get on a belt squat machine, and it's just a mess. First of all, you don't need to put 10 pounds on that machine ever, because that's just like, you could be my mom, and like 10 pounds isn't going to make a difference on that machine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, it's just a mess, and I'm always like organizing it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I get some looks like, why? Because I'll be taking all the little weights off and putting them where they belong and just trying to clean up that area, you know? So yeah, I could see where people will get their membership canceled.
I mean, Jam, you know how passionate like we are about the carts and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we drop off ballots Monday morning at Adams County, right on the way to work. And they have, I don't even know what they call them. They're like the stand-up banners.
The little whippy flags.
You know, they have
on
like
the pole.
some sandbags on this little. It's knocked over in the parking lot, right? We pull up, and it's to say, "Hey, vote here," right? And it's like 10 feet tall, right? And I just start picking it up. Pretty soon, Jim's out of the pickup, and like we're putting the sandbags back on it. And I laugh because, you know, obviously all the voter issues, right, with the supposed, you know, rabbit holes with the election was stolen, this voter fraud, that voter fraud, right? Adams County's made a really big deal that we have cameras, right? So they have cameras. So there's a light pole next to us, and I'm kind of looking around, and I look at the camera, and it's just facing the driveway. Like, they don't even know we've showed up. We threw the ballots in. We're like putting their little election here flag up.
It went from vote here to Republicans vote here.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, the like Dave's telling you, the box that the camera's hooked to says election camera. The camera says like election camera on it. And we're, you know, like Dave said, we're both doing all that, and you look at the camera, and seriously, it's like the driveway, the building. There's no way it'll see anything, and then they brag about it. You're just like, wow.
Of course.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something you said, Todd, and we try not to do that, and I'm sure we touch on that. But when you talk about, writing a paycheck for your employees and stuff like that, that's what we do with crashes is, literally that's mine and Dave's money.
Yeah.
And I don't think people think of it that way, that it's like the companies or it's JFW or something like that. And literally it is our money.
Yeah.
And people are wasting or losing it, and we don't want to dwell on that. And maybe I'm making it more about ourselves than what it needs to be, but we just had a company come in and kind of review our processes about hiring somebody to go over our processes.
A consultant.
A consultant. What's our goals? What's our end? Do we want to sell? Do we want to keep? Do we want to hire somebody? Do your employees know what their goals are, and different stuff like that? And one of the things they came up with is, not they came up with, but one of the things they
strategy
push, or a strategy for the owners, is we should be taking every dime out of this business. Got to be taking every dime out of this business. Mm-hmm. It needs to be going in our pocketbook.
Why aren't you taking that? Wouldn't you love to have that?
and we would, but that's where I want to explain why it hurts so much when you wreck stuff. Is we don't take all the money out of the business.
Right.
We put it back in the business.
100%.
Almost
$1.
Every dime, except for our paychecks. We don't take anything else out of it. Any profit goes to buying the better truck, the whatever, the better parts,
better benefits.
Yeah, anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The increase in health insurance,
Yeah.
the raise in the 401k,
Right.
the bigger safety bonus, the increase
All
in
the
pay,
stuff.
every bit of that. And that guy made it sound like we should have been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even have a company if we did that.
Right.
It wouldn't exist.
Right.
We would pillage from it for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and then it's empty.
It's gone.
It's
And
gone.
we'd have
And it's
a-
like,
we-
wait a minute. It doesn't work. Life doesn't work
No.
like you think it works.
No, it doesn't.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And this is a consultant that, it was pretty frustrating.
Yeah. Because Todd, I know you just don't have the crappiest machines in your gym, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
It can't work that way.
yeah. Not where I'm at, for sure. And yeah, that's the biggest thing that sometimes, as when we get stuck in life and the rat race, it's you get slotted in your kind of in your hole, and you forget to look around, right? So as owners, you have to go at 10,000 feet, like you guys are saying. We got to bring in a consultant and someone to sometimes help us look at our business and think about these things. But also, I encourage you guys as employees out there, the best employees are the ones that actually take what you're doing, and whether you want to be a driver or a manager or an owner or a business, I don't care. You have to kind of get your head out of the forest and the weeds and off the road for a second. Just think about what you're doing to help your family and you as an individual and a person, to make, you have a purpose in this world to do the best you can possibly do. At least that's what I think. Not everyone believes that, but in order to do that, you have to think about what you're impacting. And you have to think about the people that take care of you, and your employer is one of the people that is taking care of you. And literally in the day, you're spending the majority of your life at your job.
Yep.
So you do your job hopefully to go out and enjoy the other things in life, but if you can find enjoyment in your job, your life is going to be way better. 1,000% better.
Right?
So
Absolutely.
encourage you guys just to kind of think about that when you're talking about all these safety things. And to me, if I was you guys, I'd be like, fuck, here we go again, right? And I mean, I'm sure and as owners, that's how it feels when you're talking to your employees that way. But if you really just take to heart just a few of those things and be like, you know what, I can do that today. Do one of those things, it will make a big difference. The company will be different, you'll be different, and yeah, I mean, it's all good stuff.
The cool thing, Todd, is we're blessed. We have so many amazing people here. We really do. But we find ourselves caught up with the onesie, twosie issues. The fires that make you overlook the greatness we truly have here. So,
right.
Yeah.
We're thankful we do recognize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's easy to sit here on the podcast and bitch about the 5 things bad that happened last week when we probably should be promoting the 1,000 great things that did happen.
Right.
You know, and we do bring that up, but it's easy to get on that bitch bandwagon.
Yep.
Right. And just complain about things when we just got to move on. Right. It happened. We move on. What we run into is the repetitive. It happened. Right. You know what I mean? Because you have a different person or a different scenario, but still same circumstance. You know, how do we hit an object that doesn't move?
Totally.
That blows us away. We do it every week. We hit shit that's sitting there, that's in front of us, and we drive right into it or back into it.
Yeah.
And for us, I mean, we've done it our whole lives, Todd. So at a certain point, you're like, how on God's green earth is this frickin' possible? No more. Done. You know what I mean? Like, you've seen it, you've watched it, you've paid for it, you've seen it, you've watched it, you've paid for it, and at a certain point, you're like, frickin' no more.
Oh, it's not. It's mind-numbing. I go through it. Same thing. We all do. I mean, it's like a bunch of you guys out there probably have kids. It's the same thing of telling your kids not to do it, right? And they keep doing it over and over, no matter how many times you punish them. And then the only thing I encourage always as owners when I listen to stuff like this too, it's like, just remember what it was like to be that dumbass. All right,
right.
Just remember, like, I know you're the boss now, and you understand that, but you were a dumbass too, right? Just like your kids.
It's your job to take it.
Yeah. So and that's why I think you guys need to have these kinds of check-ins with everyone too. It's not just to be a jerk or to be the boss. It's like, hey, listen, we're all dumbasses. You're new. And this isn't for the guys that, like, you celebrated 6 years and 3 years, and those guys are probably outstanding. But it's for these new ones. Just hey, stop for a second. Remember that this stuff is important. And so it's like one of those things where, like, all right, I apologize to all the good people out there doing their job. This is for the few. This is for the few. The few and not proud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, this is for the few that can't rack their weight.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know.
Or wipe down the machine when they're done, or whatever the case
shopping
may be,
cart
right?
or all that. Because I like the quote on the website, Todd. I was going to ask you about it. The summit is what drives us, but the climb itself is what matters.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the grind.
Yeah.
You know, it's the grind.
Yeah, it's tough.
Todd, how do you feel? I want to jump off the 24-hour fitness topic here real quick, but how do you feel that prepared you for your current business?
I mean, it taught me everything to do and what not to do.
What are the things you don't want to do that you learned there?
I mean, again, it's the same kind of thing. It's just you don't want to pressure your people to have to perform. Like, you want to find the right people that want to work with you, not for you. Right. So I think 24-hour fitness really just kind of grinded you out, and either you fit the mold and you're able to hack it and go for it, or you couldn't. And that doesn't work in today's society, obviously, with the way things are going.
Yeah, 24-hour fitness actually changed. They don't even really have sales reps anymore, or fitness counselors, as we would call them. It's somebody to help you sign up on a computer.
Yeah.
You do it yourself, then they kind of, here's your choices.
Yeah,
they've definitely softened their program up.
Right.
So
yeah, I have to completely adapt to that. So yeah, I mean, what basically all the business model I currently operate and use comes from being a general manager at 24-hour fitness.
Right.
I mean, I ripped pretty much everything off I know from that they taught me, and I took it and tweaked it the way that I like to run it, and that's what I roll with now.
Great. What are some of the challenges you're facing now at the Bouvelon? So just so everybody knows, Todd was in a different location for many, many years. Your lease was up over there, and you had the opportunity to buy the property at the Bouvelon. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so really what happened is as much as I'd like to say this was my plan, it wasn't my plan. It was definitely God's plan, because I was forced into pretty much every situation I have been with this business as far as growth goes, to some extent. Not that I didn't want to do it, or it shouldn't have been what I was aiming for. But yeah, what happened was I started with a business partner in 2014. 2020 came around, COVID, all that. We separated. I took over, created Summit Strong. I was in 6 months into my running the things by myself and creating it, like, this is what I'm going to do in my space. And the owner that I was leasing from came and was like, "Oh, I'm selling the building. You need to find a new place to move your gym." Wow. And it was like, "Oh shit, now what do I do?" So the current location had been a gym since 1998. So the current place I'm in was originally called the Matrix.
Yep.
And it was a Matrix. And I went in there with a broker, and they're like, "Well, try to work out a lease arrangement with those people." They had been out of business so this was 2022. So they had been out of business for 3 years, and they didn't want to give any kind of TIs, which I now know why, because I had to do it myself.
What's a TI?
It's tenant improvement. So basically, if you're looking at starting a business and you walk into a warehouse and you're going to create whatever you want, a gym, a storefront or whatever, you're going to get some kind of tenant improvement. Typically, the owner will say, "Okay, we're going to give you $200,000 to make this location into whatever you want, shop, offices, or whatever." Yeah. And they were like, "Nope, we're not giving you any tenant improvement." And I was like, "Well, okay, so I'm going to go look elsewhere," because I really wasn't looking at buying. I wasn't in a position to. I had just taken over running the gym myself. And so I was like, "Okay, this isn't the spot for me." And then all of a sudden it went on auction. And I was like, "Ooh, well, how do I get my hands?" It's a block away from my current location. I already had a membership base of around 500 members. It's like I have to stay close.
Yeah.
A lot of downtown, a lot of people walk to my location. So I have to stay close. What am I going to do? Well, thankfully I have an investor that believes in me and was like, "Well, what do we need to do to make a down payment?" So I came up with 20% of that $1.5 million that I wasn't ready to spend. And I was like, "All right, well, okay, here we go." We're not just playing around with a business and rent. Now we're owning. It's like going from renting an apartment to owning a house, and many people can feel that kind of a jump and pressure and that. So it took that leap, and I bought that building in 2022. I got my construction loan and everything ready to roll in June of 2023. So we started almost a year ago. Originally, we thought it was going to be about $350K to demo and get things going. It turned into $950,000.
What?
So I've been through some. It's been fun. I don't know how else to say it. I kind of preferenced Jocko earlier, and if you guys ever are going through a hard time and want to go YouTube, just go on YouTube, search Jocko and the word good, because
you broke your leg? Good.
Good. It gives you time to rest.
Right.
Yeah, because you weren't resting, you broke your leg. Good. Right? Because if I didn't have that, we're talking about, and I don't mean to get ahead of stuff, but mental health, and my wife can attest to this, but it's been a year of you think you got something figured out, and you're gonna get all of a sudden it's right back on your ass. All right, hey, go figure out how to find $1 million, kind of a thing, right? So what am I dealing with now? Well, now I'm in this great facility. It's everything that I envisioned, and now and if you look at Summit Strong's kind of mission and core value, it's community. I'm really big about community, and it sounds like you guys are too, and culture and taking care of people around you. So the people underneath me are great. So I spent about $200,000 on flooring alone to try to mitigate, because I'm on the second floor. So I realized dropping weights. We're a weightlifting gym, so a lot of deadlifting makes noise.
Olympic lifts.
Yeah, Olympic lifts makes noise. And so I invested all this money because I sat on the board and I listened to meetings, and they're like, noise is an issue. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense, right? And spent all this money on the flooring. Biggest issue I'm dealing with right now is trying to make sure that the residents and members get along, because the people that live above me hate me. And we're coming through some of that stuff. So it's just figuring out sound stuff. So there's a moral of the story is it doesn't matter, business, life, whatever, but life is going to keep coming for you, and you better be ready when it does, because
so just to be clear though, You open your doors. You already spent the money to mitigate noise.
Day one,
somebody comes down to the gym at 5 a.m.?
pissed.
5 a.m.?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. and just
in pajamas.
tells you that they're going to get
I'm
you
going to
kicked.
get you shut down.
I'm going to get you shut
I'm
down.
going to shut you down.
After all the money, after all the heartache, the planning, the construction, this is day one, the moment you've been waiting for, and somebody comes down and like Karens you.
They created a phone, like a chat room, shut down the gym essentially.
Wow.
Posted in elevators.
Wow.
It was fun.
So legally though, I mean, can they do that? I mean, do they have a...
Well, obviously now we're talking about spending more money on lawyers, right?
Right.
Again, the joys of running a business. I just want to run a gym, help people get in shape.
Make sure you're talking to the mic.
So it's legally they have a right. So, I mean, it's a condo, right? And if you're making noise think of it, 5 a.m., open the gym and someone's in there deadlifting 315 pounds, which... It typically doesn't happen early. It's usually in the evenings, but it does happen, and it drops, and you're living in the condo above, and you hear boom.
Right.
I would be pissed.
Right.
And the other thing is again, so taking myself, you have to detach and go into what it would be like to live above a gym.
Right.
And these people lived in construction for a year straight
Right.
of shit getting torn down and listening to drilling in their ceiling as they hung HVAC, right? I would be
Right.
to my limits. And then the first day the gym comes in and there's noise. I probably would have did the same thing.
Huh.
So, sitting here now having to after digesting 3 weeks ago, because tomorrow is 1 month that the new gym's been open. And I get it. But hopefully we can work together and we can come to some amicable agreements, and I'll continue to do the best I can to mitigate noise for these folks because it is their home, right? Sure. And home is important, and they have the right to do it. At the same time, as an owner and operator, I look at it as like, well, folks, this has been zoned a gym since 1998.
Right.
I didn't change any zoning, occupancy, nothing. I didn't even have to pull a permit because of that, because it's a gym going into another gym. All I did was a tenant improvement, essentially. Just changed the way everything was laid out. Yeah. So, but legally, I don't know. We'll see. I'm praying and hoping that we can work together as neighbors, just like you guys do.
Yep.
Because no one wins in a legal battle, folks.
The lawyers
do. The lawyers
do.
The lawyers extend it out so they get more, and they get more, and they get more. Yeah.
It's a money pit.
It is.
And unfortunately, you have to have them.
Interesting. Well, I need to come down and check out your new gym. Maybe I'll bring the wife down there on the weekend or something.
Everybody check it out.
Yeah. Let's talk about something that you do. Maybe this does help with your mental health. I honestly think you're sick for doing it. I think counseling would be a better route. But let's talk about
Wow.
Let's talk about running though. So you guys see Todd. I mean, does he look like a runner to you? He doesn't look like a runner to me.
Not the typical runner.
Not the typical runner, right?
Yeah.
And Todd has ran every single day for...
Today is 1622.
1,622
awesome,
days straight. And that is over 4.4 years. I did the math the other day.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't do it today, so maybe it's over 4.5 years. I don't know.
It's like 4 or 5.
It's like 4.5 years every single day. And that means, have you been sick?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ran when you're sick. Has it snowed?
Yeah.
Has it been hot?
Yep. 108, I think, is the hottest I've ever run in.
Wow. Have you been on vacation?
Yep.
Have you been hunting?
Yep.
Never missed a day?
Never missed a day.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Why won't you miss a day?
Well, the streak ends. You have to start over. I mean, it's kind of the... right? So it's like, well, how long is it going to take me to get back here?
Right. 4.5 years.
4.5 years. I mean, that's
1,623 days.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, today's 22. I mean, honestly, in all fairness, and no one believes me when I say this, and I'm going to drop an F-bomb because I fucking hate running.
Right.
Like, there's nothing in my day that I look forward to at all about going for that run.
Huh.
It is the last thing I want to do, and I really don't feel like I can enjoy my day until that thing is done. To be honest with you, it's something.
I can't believe you don't just wake up and knock it out. I'm really shocked at that. I mean, I understand you go work out at the gym before you have to deal with clients and all that, but I would think that would be like almost, hearing how you approach it kind of blew me away this morning when we were talking before the podcast. Like you just have to fit it in at the end of your day, and to me, that's the easiest thing to put off. Yet, I know more importantly, you said you like to get your weights in or your workout in,
right?
Because that's more important to you,
right? I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but because I work at a gym, if I don't go in before the gym is open to work out, I will not get my workout in.
I get that.
And it will drag me. A 45-minute lifting session will end up being 2.5, 3 hours if I'm lifting when there's members in there. Right? Like, I mean, even so now I've got a new thing to torture myself with. Not that I don't torture myself enough, but so I get up at 3:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday, go to the gym, lift weights from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Clients start at 5 a.m. Usually finish up with clients around 10 or 11, do my business stuff I need to do. And now, before I run, I now sit in the sauna for 20 minutes and then I cold plunge. We have we're probably, I don't know if we are the first gym in Denver to do this, but we're one of the first gyms in Denver to create a recovery room with steam saunas and cold plunges. So like 33 degrees.
Sauna then cold plunge?
I sauna
and cold plunge and then sauna?
No, because
that defeats the purpose.
Yeah, the science behind it is cold plunging. It creates like dopamine release. So if you go into the sauna afterwards, your body's natural ability to warm up is kind of what makes you feel good afterwards.
Understood.
So you want to like get out and be like, I think I shivered for almost an hour yesterday.
Wow.
And it was the first time I made 3 full minutes.
Todd.
Wow, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I know. Go ahead.
No, sorry, Jim, I might just keep talking over you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I'm getting off the cold plunge back to the running thing. Because I know that I hate running more than you. I could drop 2 F-bombs. And I know this because I won't do it.
Well, you probably had to run in the military.
Well, I did have to run. And then also with Ben Cowan, I don't know if you remember when. Yeah. So I ran 97 training miles. And then I had like a little ankle injury. And I was like told by him I can't run for like a week, and then I just told him like I'm selling my Brooks. Like I'm not like out of the 97 miles I enjoyed one. I was like, and there is no such thing as a runner's high. I've never got it, so I'm done.
Yeah, there's really not.
But anyway, so you cold plunge.
So I cold plunge and then I go run.
Wow.
So that's the new. We'll see how it goes.
Gotcha.
And your cold plunge, what temperature do you have it at?
That was my question, Jim.
33 degrees.
33 degrees.
There's ice in it.
So when we went to Mexico, me and Holly went to the spa, and they had the cold plunge, and you go in the sauna, and we're like, oh, let's do that, And I get down in the cold plunge, and Tyler and son-in-law, and we're like, oh, we're shivering, and we're, looking at our watches and the whole bit, and the temperature, they have a thermometer right in the water right there.
It was like 58 degrees.
It was 60 degrees, you guys. And I'm like, no way, that's wrong. Are we? Because it was cold.
60's cold?
Yeah,
it is cold.
Right.
If it is cold.
It is.
Yeah, and then, then I had to look it up, and it was somewhere between 60 and like 40 is your, if you're going to cold plunge, you need to be in those temperatures, know. And I'm like, well, I feel like I'm cheating at 60. I'm like, and so I can't imagine at 33. If there's ice in it, that's amazing.
And how long?
Especially 3 minutes.
How long? 3 minutes?
I made 3 minutes yesterday.
Wow. How long do you recommend for somebody who's never cold plunged before?
I mean, if you've never cold plunged, like if you can make a minute, I'll be honest with you, if you can make a minute and you go past that minute, you're good.
Really?
It's just you got to make it that first minute. If you that first minute, and then
you're saying if you can make 1, you could potentially make 3.
You'll make 3.
Oh, gotcha.
You just got to believe you can make 3.
Right.
How long did you make it the first time?
Minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a minute. It's horrible. Your body thinks it's dying.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, literally, like.
Yeah. That's the reason you get the dopamine afterwards. It's like, we survived!
Yes! Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you hate running, and you do it every day. And then you make your body think it's dying every day.
Cold plunges.
Like, there's something wrong, Todd.
But that's doing that
this
hard
thing, bro.
Yeah. But that's doing that hard thing, right, Todd?
Yeah.
The thing you hate. You're getting that hard thing out of the way.
Right. And it's not just, it's doing the hard thing, which is like doing the right thing. And the biggest thing, if you can make yourself do something that you don't want to do every day, when life does hit you, when you do make that mistake, or you experience a death in the family, or you're fighting with your wife, or that bill comes and you're like, how the hell am I going to pay for that? Right? It doesn't affect you the same way.
So what made you decide one day, like, I'm going to run every single day for potentially ever? Because, I don't know what it's going to take. Do you get to 10 years and you're like, oh, I'm good? Or do you blow your knees out where you can't run anymore? Or, what made you wake up 4.5 years ago and say, I'm going to run every day?
Yeah, well, that's not kind of, it's a good question. So I was always dabbling in running because I'm a big David Goggins fan, Cameron Haynes, hunter, bow hunter, runner, right? Big endurance guys. And what they do is amazing, and I don't put myself in that realm. I just try to be the best version of me, and that's what I love about those guys, is that they're outliers. They're, they do extraordinary things with their bodies. And I admire that about them, and if even to be mentioned in that kind of a realm would be cool, but I don't do it for that. It actually started from a colleague that we both know, Justin Martin, was doing in 2020. He owns a real estate company, and he was doing to help a 90-day challenge to help families in need after the holidays, right? Because a lot of people forget about these, single moms and stuff after, right. and it was to raise funds to help these families in need. And his challenge was to run a 5K a day for 90 days. So you had to do 5 5Ks for 90 days every week.
Okay.
Right?
So run 5 out of 7 days.
Yeah, and it's 3.2 miles, which I was already kind of running pretty decent mileage by then.
What is your run? What distance every day?
Well,
change.
So
because I could claim I ran every day if, like, when I got out of my car in the garage and I ran into
yeah.
Like, I ran for 10 years now.
Sure. Yeah. So my mileage started out as at that 5K mark, right? And so for him, I was like, listen, if you double what you're gonna do, we're gonna do 90 for 90 though. Not like he was gonna do. It was a 5K. I think it was like 55 Ks in 90 days or something like that, or 45. Whatever it is, 5 days a week for 90 days to get your 5K. And I was like, it's a 5K. It's 3.2 miles. You can do a 5K every day for 90 days, no problem.
Got it.
So I challenged him to do 90. 7 days a week. Let's do 90 in a row. 90 days, no matter what. And of course, like my second week, I roll my ankle. Right? So I'm like, oh, well, now what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I just limped through it. Like, you go out there and you just limp through it, right? You're hurt, but you're still running, kind of, sort of. Your time sucked. But so you get to 90 days at the end of this, and I made it. And I'm feeling really good. And it's like, well, 10 more days is 100. Got to get 100. And then you hit 100, and you're like, well, shit, I'm already 100 days in. What's 365 look like? Right. You just keep going, and then you don't want to stop once you have a streak like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you start over. So you guys are like, yeah, when do you stop?
I don't know. So to answer Brother Dave's question, what's your run now? Like, what's your short? What's your long?
My minimum, like in my head, that I have to get is 3.5. This year is 4.5, but last year was 6.5.
Wow.
But I jacked my body up something fierce. That was like 20. I mean, I can look it up. I want to say it was 2,400 miles in a year.
Wow.
2,400 plus.
And what did you jack up?
I mean, everything. It just depends on the day.
Knees, back, you're talking about.
I mean, right now I'm dealing with my left knee is pretty bad. I injured that in high school, had an ACL done. It started out with my right. I mean, there's always something. You're running every day. You're going to hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Would you say running is good or bad for you?
I mean, it depends what you're doing it for. Right.
Is it good for your body?
That's a loaded
Not
question.
your heart, not your crazy.
Good for your body.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it can be good for your body. I'm not, as you guys said, a typical runner. Like, I'm not built for distance at all. Like 5'0", 175 pounds.
Right.
it's a lot of weight to be carrying at that height, you know. So, and it's not like I have a lot of extra weight, obviously, but that's hard. It's been hard on my joints. Yeah, it's tough on your body.
What would make you not run?
Dead.
Gotcha.
I mean, right now, like
if you could get up and you could walk, you're running.
If I can get up and walk, those miles are getting done.
Right. Okay. So 4.5 miles every day.
Every day.
Gotcha. What's been your hardest day running?
Today.
And yesterday?
No, yesterday's done. That was easy, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, really, like I think that's what people forget. Like, your hardest day is today.
Huh.
We look back at like stuff that's happened to us, but you're here today, guys.
Right.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I haven't really thought of it that way. You know, that's a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's
Yeah.
and again, that's a stolen thing. I'd like to say that I came up with that myself, but that's a Navy SEAL thing.
Sure.
You know, your hardest day is today. You survived yesterday.
Right.
No matter how hard it was, what you went through, you're still here. You know, and you forget that, right? Like, you forget that you've been through some really bad shit in your life, and you're still here today. Sun came up, you're breathing, hopefully, right? I mean, if you're not breathing, you're dead.
Yep.
So if you're awake and you have breath in your body, and you can say, I'm here and I'm alive, you have another opportunity. So your hardest day is today.
Keep grinding.
Yeah. Hardest day is today.
So June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We talked about it last week in this room, but what's one of the toughest things you face as a man, Todd?
Toughest things as a man. I mean, gosh, I could sit here and talk for hours on this, but I think the hardest thing is, as men in general, is that we face is ourselves, right? So like our own feelings. Most of us are taught and brought up as men to be like, you got to take care of all this stuff, and you guys talked about it a lot too. There's a lot of people going through a lot of different issues right now that are listening to this podcast, and doesn't matter how big or how small it is. When you feel like you can't do it anymore, like there's a lot of times I think as men you want to quit, right? And cash out and check out. And whether that's suicide or just like quitting your job or whatever it is, but I mean, I've been there dark. You know, the biggest thing that you need to do is to talk to people. Have a circle, have a community. You're not alone, right? You're not alone.
You have that circle?
Yeah.
That's good.
Small.
Yeah, I bet.
Small. I like to keep my circle small, and I think that's important for a lot of guys, right? Like, the smaller your circle is, typically the truer the people you have in your life.
Yeah.
So if you're going through that stuff, and I mean, I think it's more common than you think. People just don't talk about it, but you got to talk. Don't keep that bottled up. It will ruin you. I mean, I've spent, running is kind of my counseling now, but I've spent years in counseling talking about feelings. Like, don't be afraid to go out there, get help, right? Like, do it.
I get it. Last night I got home and my wife was in the shower, and I just told her, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm really tired and I'm emotional. She was like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. Like, I just want you to know that, because I'm just kind of done with the day. I didn't have yesterday was good. I had a good day at work. It's like, just driving home, I just got tired. When I'm tired, I get emotional. And I just told her, like, because I didn't want there to be something wrong, and she's like, get in bed, just go to sleep. I'm like, well, I want to, I've already eaten dinner because I ate here late. I was like, I'm going to come out and hang out with you and Bella while you eat. But after that, I'm done. Got in bed. She locked the dogs in the room with me. One of them jumped in bed with me. And next thing I know, it was 12:30.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, communication is good. She's definitely part of my circle. You know what I mean? As I'm sure Toby is for you.
Right.
So good stuff. Probably the most important question, I saved it for last, but where does your faith play into all of this?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, I mean, you better have something bigger than yourself to believe in, whether it's God. I mean, I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I taught Sunday school for like 13 years.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that really walk around professing my faith as much as I probably should as a Christian, which is what I'm called to do, especially at the level I guess I would say I practice my faith to some degree. I think it's important that you also wrestle with your faith too, right? Like you question things. Like I think a lot of people try to live life blindly by rules and things like that.
Blind
faith.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
You get caught up in the world that way, and you really need to look at things objectively. Why you're doing stuff, what you're called to do. But no, faith plays a huge thing in my life. Like one of my favorite parables is the talents. Jesus is talking about talents. And,
the different gifts, you mean?
Yeah. Gifts, talents, right?
Yeah.
And he gives one person 3 talents. He gives one 2, and he gives one 1. And the one with 3 goes out and doubles it. One with 2 goes out and doubles it. That one, right?
Right.
And the one with 1 is afraid of the ruler, the king, and like hides it away.
Buries it.
Buries it.
Yeah.
Buries it. And comes out, and then the ruler is like, throws him away. And the way I interpret that is every single person is given talents in this world. And if you're not out trying to make the most out of those talents, you're literally you're missing out on life. You're going to get thrown away. You get thrown away, put away. You're not going to live your life to the fullest. So why do I do this crazy stuff? Well, because I feel like I'm called to do more.
I think one of the biggest things on talents too is you have to get to a certain age or a certain understanding that one man's talents are not another man's talents.
No, exactly.
And that's huge
Yes.
to me. When you finally figure that out, you have to learn your talent.
Right. What are you good at?
Yeah.
Go be the best at that.
Yeah.
Everyone's
We talk about that with kids in school. How far would kids in school, because from day one in school, and I'm just speaking for my upbringing and maybe even my son's, but you're focused on everything you can't do or that you're not good at.
Oh yeah.
Right? If you're not good at math, you need help in math.
Yeah.
If you're not good at this, you need help in this. If you're not good at that, you need help in that, right? Mm-hmm. What would happen to our society if we focused on what we are good at?
Right.
Right? What if you're great at math or science and
Right.
that's all you focused on? Who cares if you can't spell Mississippi? Right. You know what I mean? I'm making that up, right?
No, it's true.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just always wonder that, right? What are you good at?
We
Focus
talk
on.
about the right seats on the bus.
Yes.
Right. But also there's I'm sure you guys have seen this video, and it says, I'm going to make up the words like, you're not unskilled, you're just on the wrong field. And it's a video probably about a 6-year-old girl trying to kick a soccer ball. And like, she can't kick it from me to Todd. And she misses and she makes a face, and then she does like a backward cartwheel into like a somersault. And it was like,
she's a total gymnast.
She's a gymnast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's an amazing gymnast.
Yeah.
She's just not good at soccer.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
I'll try to find it and send it to you guys.
that's
It
a
is
good
pretty
one.
awesome. So
Just a while ago, Jam, I'm pretty sure it's an old country song, and I think it's who is it? I should be able to tell you. The Gambler, Kenny Rogers did it, but it's the whole song about the little boy that goes out
playing baseball.
Yeah, and he swings and misses, and he picks the ball up and he tosses it up and he swings and misses, and it's all about how bad of a pitcher he is, or I'm sorry, how bad of a baseball player he is, or swinging the bat. But the song ends with, I didn't know you could pitch like that, because he never hit one ball and he was pitching to himself.
Yep.
that's funny.
And he's like, I didn't know I could pitch like that. And it's just, I heard it a while ago, and I'm like, God, what a great song.
Yeah. I haven't heard that for years. That was probably one of his last hits.
Yeah. And you're just same thing we're all talking about. And Todd, this weekend I mentioned it. I got to go to Moab, and when you get up into some of those spots, if you can't believe that there's something bigger than yourself out in these areas of beauty, that the colors of the rocks or the formations or the sky or just the area, just there's something is bigger there. And then to be able to enjoy the peace with JR, a good friend, and my wife, and the quietness. We sat and had lunch underneath the tree, and except for maybe a plane you heard once in a while, it was just the wind going through the trees.
I love that.
Well, and something else that we've been given the ability to go to those places.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We've created machines or boats or planes to get us there.
Raptors.
You can look at that good or bad, right? Like maybe we should be hiking in right? And not disturbing that area or whatever. But yeah, I can identify with that, Jim. That's what, I was so lucky to get to go to that PACCAR cabin in Alaska. And, you take a float plane in, and then you're fishing in these bays for 80-pound salmon. And I mean, we watched grizzly bears and humpback whales and seals and shit I had never dreamt I was going to see on that trip. And it, like you said, you were emotional last night. Like, I was sitting there in the boat that one day on like day 2, and it was almost emotional for me. We knew we were going to lose Mom pretty soon, and I thought of that and the family background and where I was at. And when you say God's country, you were in God's country, and God's country can be anywhere, right? It could be anywhere where you were at. It was cool, man. And I hope everyone in their lifetime gets to experience that.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Not necessarily my trip, but you get to experience somewhere in your lifetime you found God's country.
Right.
You had that feeling.
Yeah. Creation always makes me feel connected to God. And I mean, the one I related to the most is always hunting, just being out there. Last year just didn't get a thing, but 8 days of, you want to talk about silence. I mean, just pulling into that ranch and opening the door to the pickup truck, the silence was deafening, I say, because it was just like, I haven't heard it this quiet in so long, and to not have cell phone service and just to have to sit and be with yourself.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
To lean back at night and see 1 million stars instead of 7.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay. You guys got any questions for Todd before we move on a little bit?
I just wanted to touch on one other thing you said, Todd, and when you talk about religion and stuff like that, and through my years, I haven't had a really good experience with religion because people get involved, and that's where I think religion falls so hard there.
You mean carbon-based units?
Yeah, carbon-based units, right?
Yeah.
But I love the statement that you have to go out and do it, though. No matter, it's up to you to go do it. Here's what God's created. Here's the outline. Here's some teachings. But go do it yourself. You got to get it done. And I think that's where people miss. I mean, I don't want to pick on a religion, but I've in my experience, I've never liked some of my friends that were Catholic that can go to confession and all be like it's forgiven. I can do this the 6 days a week, and on the 7th I go give my confession and I'm good to go the next day. And I find that bothering. You know what I mean, in the whole thing, and there's just different stuff about religion. I've never believed you have to be in that church to practice your religion.
I like to speak into all that. One saying that I've heard before is a problem with Christianity is the Christians, right?
Yeah.
It's the people, right?
Carbon-based units.
Yeah, but grace, you're talking about grace. Grace is scandalous because you can't earn it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're all forgiven, but not for going to confession, right? But the thing is just because we're forgiven doesn't mean we get to keep on going on and sinning, because then you're missing the whole point of grace. Right? If the point of grace is because I grew up, completely different. I was born a Jew. You know what I mean? And when I found Jesus, I was like, grace? What's this grace? I love grace. Grace is awesome. And I would party and do all these things and it'd be like, I have grace. And I would lean on that. But I never stood on the truth. And it wasn't until years later I started reading this book called The Gospel According to Jesus. Everybody loves the Savior's salvation. I'm saved and I've received grace, but they don't want the Lordship salvation, which is the law, and God's your boss. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we get this grace, but people just think that we get to keep on sinning because of that. And if that's what grace means to you, you're missing the point of grace, because you could still receive grace and be saved and still be held accountable for your sins. What that looks like exactly, I don't know, but maybe Todd, you're more of a theologian than me. You could probably speak into it a little bit more.
I mean, the best way to look at just life in general, and you don't have to be a Christian to believe this. You can believe in a lot of different things, I think, right? And the grace thing is, I think is, to me, Christianity is the best religion because we have grace, right? That you get to go to heaven and I believe in Jesus, it's a guarantee. However, it's the same thing with that talents. You've been called and created by a creator, something bigger than yourself, which is part of you once you believe in that, right? And if you continue to live the life that you had before you found that, you're not reaching, same thing, your true potential. And if you don't go out and try to grind and find a way to better yourself every day, and I don't care if it's in your job or your family or whatever, you're going to fall short of what you're created to do. Like, for instance, again, people are like, well, why are you doing all this stuff? Like, this month I'm not drinking alcohol, which is tough for me because I brew my own beer and I like to drink beer. So you find different outlets and ways to sometimes escape reality, but you also have to find times to be like, I want to be the best version of me. How do I do that? How do I be the best driver today? How do I be the best husband today? How can I be the best father today? And what are you doing to do that? Is that something that you actually think about every day? Or are you just waking up and doing your job? Every day is an opportunity, and you only have so many of those sunrises.
Right.
As we all know, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true, Todd. I've had a couple of occasions here recently where I've visited the group Al-Anon, and it's to help families that have alcoholism in their families, and it's for the family members. And one thing they really touch on, and you kind of said that at the beginning there, is they're just faith-based. They don't say what faith, just if you have a faith, that's what we want to base to come to these meetings, to have a faith. You know what I mean? And I think all of us need that faith, and you maybe you need to work on finding that too, Todd. I don't know if that fits into what you were saying, but that's how I feel about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Christianity is the best. Obviously, I'm a Christian, right? Like, I think that's the best. I'm biased.
Sure.
But I don't think you can get through life and not believe in something bigger than yourself. It's impossible, because again, mental health. How many men commit suicide or want to, or have those feelings, or want to quit, or self-sabotage all the time because life gets hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, life is going to grind you down. There's one thing that my saying, it's a Jordan Peterson thing, that life is suffering. Life is 100% suffering, guys. Like, you have to find happiness in suffering.
Right.
You got to be able to find happiness in the hard times.
You like to suffer, though, man. Let me tell you. All the stuff I've heard here, you're into suffering. You like a little pain. I can tell.
The next time I see Todd, he's going, I got this new thing. You're not going to understand it, but I take glass and I shove it in my eye.
Right? Yes. If you can't handle being pepper sprayed for 15 minutes straight, you're weak.
I really hate the glass in my eye, but I do it because, nobody cares. Work harder.
Nobody cares. Work harder. It's on my wrist.
Good.
It's on my wrist. It's on my wrist. It's good. It's good.
I sent you the good parody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It's funny. There's some good ones out there. Goggin, lots of that.
Your wife's got to be tough.
Yeah.
I would say patient.
Yeah, but she's got to be tough too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and it could be a quiet tough. I can see it.
Yeah. She puts up with a lot, and she's also a business owner. So, why I think we work so well together.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Understands. Yeah.
Yep.
Part of your circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. I told Dave about it a few weeks ago, but Jordan Peterson, I watched a little video on him, and the interviewer's interviewing him, and they're like, the interview asked him, we've heard you say that maybe you've set your bar too high. Maybe you need to set a lower bar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're just like,
what?
And they ask him the question, what do you mean like that? And Jordan Peterson is like, well, maybe you've set that bar so high that you can never achieve it. You're just never going to reach your goal, and you basically get defeated. He said, I'm talking about setting a goal that you can achieve. So maybe you set your goals too high. Maybe you need a little lower bar, and you can achieve that goal, and then set the next goal, and then set the next goal. And pretty soon you are achieving that. But I don't want you to get, and then I took, this is my words, I don't want you to get, upset because you never reached that high bar. You didn't get a goal. And like you just said, Todd, cold plunging. If you can make the minute, your goal's the minute. Well, the goal is really 3 minutes.
Right.
But let's start with that minute. Right. Let's set that goal a little lower and reach it. And I loved that. I guess. I mean, you don't have to You don't have to make $100,000. Let's make $75,000 or something. Have a goal. Like getting your gym open. That was the goal. You probably didn't even think about the money you needed to make. You had to get the gym open.
Right.
Yeah,
I had people that were counting on that paycheck, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How many employees you got right now, Todd?
I just hired 2 new ones yesterday, and I think I've got 30 total.
Wow.
Nice.
And that's independent trainers plus employees?
Yeah, so that's trainers plus, staff.
And then you're saying your nephew's your right hand. Is that right?
Yeah, Mason is being groomed, if you will.
Nice.
So my nephew came out here almost 2 years. He'll be 2 years in, 2 years this fall, September.
I think I've yet to meet him. So
you might have met him once, maybe.
Okay. Cool. All right. Anything else for Todd, guys?
No, just been a pleasure, Todd.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks, guys.
Great
Fun
guest.
talking.
Yep.
We're not out of here yet, so
Yeah, we're not.
Oh, no worries.
we don't have any questions from the audience, but we do have a safety topic of the week, and that is to extend your tarps all the way out. They're taking a beating by not being all the way out, and we want to make those tarps last as long as we can, and they need to be extended all the way out. Otherwise, number one, they're not covering your load properly, and number two, you're destroying the tarp.
I do want to just add that little tip in there. Once you extend it all the way out, just tap that switch.
Yep.
Take the pressure off the motor.
Yep.
Take the pressure off the tarp. Don't just. You can't stand there. It's like hanging from a tree with one arm. It's just bad on that arm after an hour and a half. It's not going to feel good.
Yep. It's like
right?
running.
Yeah. So just take that pressure off, and same thing when you roll it up. When you roll it all the way up, if it stops rolling, just bump that switch.
And please, if you're in somebody else's truck or driving your truck, and I know it gets to be a pain in the butt, but if the tarp is torn, please keep riding it up. Right now the shop is absolutely swamped with what we're trying to get done and get things completed with the super dumps, the new trucks. We're definitely taking care of DOT items. I'm not saying those are slipping, but if we have to put anything on the back burner, it's going to be maybe a torn tarp, and that's just in the execution of trying to get everything done. That's all it is, you guys. But we don't want to forget, we don't want it crossed off the list that, you've written it up 12 times and that was a month ago.
Yeah.
And we missed it. So please keep writing it up.
Or we thought it was fixed. It depends
or
what
we
it is.
or we thought it was fixed. It's part of the look. It's part of JFW, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices. And I hate to say that, but I know what the shop and our other teammates are getting done nightly, weekly, daily, and right now we're on overload, and
Right.
and we've put them in that position, and those are some of the things that will slip through the cracks. But I guess they can't go through the cracks if you write them up. That they won't slip through the cracks. Maybe just postponed a little. So
Yeah, and luckily the night crew is, they're keeping up with everything as far as maintenance goes.
yeah.
It's the day crew that they're the one getting the trade truck ready. They're the one getting the brand new truck on the road. They're the ones still outfitting the super dumps. I can't wait till we can stop talking about the super dumps. Right? It's like, gosh.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up, right quick from yesterday, Dave. The night crew, not that they're amazing job, right? But it's kind of, tires, tarps, greasing. It's kind of this consistent thing, right?
Yes.
Super dumps have been all brand new for the day guys. We've got new guys that are just killing it out in the shop.
Yep.
But all 3 of the super dumps, they go to put the tarps on them, and 2 of them are right. And from the factory, the bracket for the tarp isn't even in the right location.
On the third one.
It's not even close to being where it was supposed to be mounted. And we've got it painted, and we're trying to figure out a way to cut the bracket off, not mess the paint up, and put a new bracket on that you're welding back on and not mess the paint up. Yeah. So basically it's just impossible. You can't do it. And that's the stuff that just grinds everything to a halt. Can't put the tarp on. Done.
Yeah. Those are the bumps in the road. And that's not a 20-minute setback. That's a 2-day setback.
Yeah.
If at best, if we have to paint, hopefully we can come up with another idea and move on. So.
Yeah, not alone. But half a day just trying to think about it, that you're not missing an idea.
Yes.
Because it's detrimental to the truck at
Yep.
this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything we've done.
Yeah, we can't jerry rig something on there that we're going to expect to last 5 years.
Yeah.
By the way, JR did run some loads with it yesterday, and he was pretty impressed.
He's in love.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's been bragging.
And
about
it could be the future, you guys. You just
I mean, it feels like it.
yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've bragged, 34% faster in front of the paver.
Yeah.
When you're paving with it.
Well, that was one of the big things he brought up. Is yesterday he pulled into plant 2, and 3 trucks had already started dumping. He wheeled in, dumped, and left. They were still dumping.
Wow.
And off he went.
amazing.
You know what I mean? You take that times 6 or 8 times. That's another load.
It's a load. Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So
Interesting.
yeah, very.
BD, you want to hit us with that
I
high
do.
road hauling?
I don't like filling in for Super Dave.
In the
'cause
spirit of
he's
Super
so
Dave.
good at it, but I'm honored to take the opportunity. So this one's for you, Super Dave. And I said this last week. I love how he gives the intro, right,
yeah.
of what he's going to
You're
explain.
gonna love this one.
Yeah,
I really
because
like
it's
this
about
one.
this, and this. And, he's dug into the person and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, this one, all I can tell you guys is the high road hauling is passion, your job, and your life.
Seems appropriate.
Right? Isn't it funny
Definitely.
How did he know?
how did he know? How did we tie this together? So if you want to be successful at your job, you need to be passionate about your work. You need to be motivated and driven to be the best you can be, regardless of your job or your work. Passion, drive, motivation, zeal, call it what you want. It is the self-driven attitude about your job and your work that can help you lead you down the path to success. Regardless of your current job, bringing passion to your work can lay a foundation for success. Not just success in your current job, but success in everything you want to try, get better at, or become the best at. You may have great aspirations for your future, but the attitude you take towards it can play a pivotal role in your career and your life. Passion is an emotion that comes from within you. It is your enthusiasm, your zeal, your drive, and your motivation. You don't want to just feel passionate about your job. You want to put passion into it. You want to apply all of your skills and all of your energy into your work, whatever it is. Passion does not go unnoticed. People will see how well you do your job and your attitude towards it. They will even see if a task is hard and you don't give in. You apply yourself even more to overcome it. They will notice your drive and your motivation, and their impression of you is that you put the passion in everything you do. A company has all sorts of workers, each with their own attitude towards their job and their work. Let me show you 2 types of workers as examples. First, there are the ones who know their job. They do it well, without complaint, and are always looking to help out for the greater good of the team. The other kind are called clock watchers. The clock watcher muddles through their work just waiting for clock hands to strike break, lunch, time to go home. These people dread coming to work. They hate Monday, but are all fired up on Friday. But not for their work. Is this who you want to be? Ultimately, it is about your attitude. You may have heard the change. If you change your mind, you may change your life. This is a perfect example. To be passionate about anything, you have to care about it. Change how you look at your job. Remember, it is not about how you feel about your job. It is about putting passion into your work. To be passionate about your work, you must be motivated to be the best you can be. Over time, people will notice. How you feel about your job will change how you feel about yourself, too. The quote of the week is from Martin Luther King Jr. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep the streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right. Good stuff.
That was an awesome one, Super Dave. Thanks.
Yep. Super Dave will be back on Monday. Can't wait.
I am so excited to hear how his trip went. I'm just excited because he was so excited to go on that
Yeah.
trip.
So, Todd, Super Dave is a hiring manager, amongst other things. He's been here 30 years.
Wow.
Just knows everything about everything. He writes those high road haulings every week for the past, 8-9 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
It is.
So, be good to have him back. Final thoughts, everybody?
Man, I'm just going to end on a high note after that High Road Holland, and I know, that's kind of the way it works. When Super Dave reads the High Road Holland, that's almost his final thoughts.
Right.
For the most part, it is, because he spent all week thinking about it and bringing them up. And I can go a lot of different places, and I don't know. I just thought this was a great podcast. Todd, I think you were an excellent guest. I love how from your point of view, it's the same, right?
Right.
We all talk about do better.
Yeah.
Be better, try hard things. You don't know how good you are until you do something. And guess what? If you fail at it, it's okay. Try it again.
Yeah.
Jim, I know you talk about the bar. I love having a bar I can't reach.
Yes.
Because that means I'm still shooting for it, right? I don't look at it that I failed. I look at it that I'm still reaching for it, right? I'm worried about the day I reach it. That's my point of view. Like, if I reach it, I'm like, wow, I don't think I set that bar high enough. Right. That's my point of view, right? So, yeah, it's just always interesting, and I guess I'm thankful for all the amazing people we have here. I want to just dote on those guys that show up every day. They make it look easy. They're rock stars. They're superstars. They're problem free. And don't get me wrong, everybody has a day here and there. You know what I mean? We're human, man. You're gonna have a sucky day, but man, I'm thankful. I'm happy. Everybody have a great day.
Love it. Jim?
Yeah, Todd, thank you for being our guest, and we've had some amazing guests, and I think because you're part of our community and our the same thing we all think about, and no matter what it is business, people are people, and your mission and vision here for Summit Strong is to create a fitness environment that puts our community first and is member owned. And this is the line: we are here to help people accomplish their goals, to achieve their peak level of fitness by educating the members through workout plans and programs, classes, and personal training. And that is the same sentence that we try to use here, that we're trying to do, is to educate, accomplish their goals, whether it's their family time, their goals here of being a truck driver. How can you be the best truck driver? What can we do to make you the best? And here a total different business. Fitness.
Yeah.
It's total different from what we do. Same goal.
Absolutely.
Same goal. And that's what we talk about, and I guess that's when I want to try to sometimes just beat into people, is it's the same goal. And it
Put
just
the card away.
It just takes
the card away.
It just takes a different form, and it's the same goal. And we talk about Jordan Peterson right there, Jocko, and I've liked the quote. Teddy Roosevelt's one of my guys I like to quote and stuff. And lately I've just seen so much from Abraham Lincoln, and I'm like, okay, what I've missed some of those, so I just looked up Abraham Lincoln, and they put a bunch of his sayings together, or his quotes or stuff, and he goes, I wish to do justice to all, leave nothing for tomorrow which can be done today. The better part of one's life consists in his friendships, so our small circles and stuff, and let bygones be bygones, let the past differences as nothing be. And I love those. And that's 100 plus years ago, you guys. It's
right.
Same
problem.
thing. And so I want, like Brother Dave said, everybody is amazing here. I appreciate every day. I'm thankful, and my bar is pretty high, and I'm asking people to set their bar pretty high, and but also for your mental health, maybe you need some smaller goals so you feel good about yourself, but there's always that big goal. And just everybody, thank you for all the work you do. Please be safe, but stop when you need to stop and think about the what ifs and what this is going to mean to you, the truck, your wife, your children, everything.
Well, I mean,
Just stop.
Yeah, sorry, Jim.
No, go ahead.
Todd mentioned you got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to be in that moment, right? You can't be doing a bench press at 315 and be wondering what you're going to do on your squat next. Right? You got to be in that moment, focused on what you're doing.
Right.
So, you know, when you're dumping, if you're on a job site, if it's a tight area, if you need to back in, you know, if it's a place you've been to 1,000 times, don't be daydreaming. You got to focus on what you're doing. Yep. Safety first.
Always. Todd, final thoughts from you?
I'm just thank you guys for being here. I appreciate being able to share everything. Hopefully you guys got a little different perspective on stuff. Be safe. Stay out of the left lane. I appreciate it.
Good advice.
I mean, do something hard. Find something hard. I don't care if it's walking a mile every day and you think that's hard, go do it. Just do it for 30 days. I challenge everyone listening, do something hard for 30 days straight every day. Just something that you would normally not do or you don't like. Push-ups. Something. Just see if your life changes. I'll guarantee there'll be a difference after that 30 days. All right. It'll be small, but you're going to be like, what? Why did this happen?
Right.
How did that just change? But I challenge you to do that, right? Like at the bare minimum, it's just going to give you a different perspective and you'll do something you've never done before. But yeah, keep the bar high. Glean the little wins, like you guys talk about, right? Make sure you pay attention to the little wins. And, you know, today's your hardest day.
I like that.
One thing I've done for the last 4.5 years is wake up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
and you didn't wake up prior to that, Jeff? 4.5 years ago, you didn't wake up?
And I went to bed. Those are two things I've done straight every day.
Well, if it wasn't for Dave's text yesterday, I wouldn't have woke up.
Ooh.
And when he got in the pickup, I go, you don't know how much I hate being late. And Dave goes, oh, I know you do. That's the reason I texted you.
It was like, you're 5 minutes late. He's asleep.
What's awesome about Todd is, you know, he's a Goggins fan and he's a Cameron Haynes fan, and you know the saying, nobody cares, work harder.
Yeah.
So he'll post like, "Wow, day 1600 was really hard" or whatever. I'm like, nobody cares. Work harder.
Always. Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, my final thoughts. I'm gonna leave you with a Bible quote. If you are struggling with some mental health and just faith and stuff like that. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that's Isaiah 41:10. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Hit that follow button. Also, don't forget to go back and listen to episode 72 to help find Amber's mom. Links to her story will be in today's show notes. We'll say the creed and get on out. Todd, we got the creed right up there. If you could see that far, I don't know. All right. Together we face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family. All right,
have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks for joining us, Todd.
Yeah, thank you.
Be safe.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, 'cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.